Hi there, John Runge with Team Craft Roofing Restorations, and welcome to video training. Today what we're going to be talking about is how to safely set up your pressure cleaner. Pressure cleaning the surface of our project roof is one of the most important things that we do after we set up our safety, and if you don't do it properly, it will almost guarantee a failure of the liquid applied membrane system. Since this is a training video, we're going to go over how to set it up, how to make sure you don't have any debris in your hoses or lines, because that's one of the only things that's going to stop your machine from working properly, assuming we've tested the engine and the pump and they are working. We're also going to talk about the PPE you need and the safety setup. And because this is a training video, we're going to tell you everything you need to do to set up your machine safely. But as we show the video, there's going to be one very important thing missing, and we're going to ask you to figure out what that is. So pay attention. There'll be a short test at the end, and without further ado, we're going to cut to the machine that we're going to be showing you how to work. We'll see you soon. Hey there, John Runge with Team Craft Roofing Restorations again, and this is the machine we're going to be using for demonstration purposes today. We've used this machine for quite a while, so it's got some road wear on it, but this is a very good unit. This is a gasoline-powered DeWalt pressure cleaner. It's a 3,750 PSI unit that moves 4 gallons a minute. We're going to identify some basic components and procedures to start out with. As with all gasoline-powered machines, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check the oil. So we're going to take the dipstick out. We're going to inspect it and see there's some oil there on the bottom, so we should be good. If it doesn't start right away, we may need to add some more. This is our pressure pump, and that is where the water comes in from the supply side, comes out the pressure side. As you can see over here, we have a regular hose connection here, and there's a screen on here, and you want to check that to make sure there's no debris, no leaves or granules or anything in there. And then this is a quick connect. This particular unit has a female quick connect, so you want to make sure that your accessory has a male end on it so that it's compatible. Now, before we start putting accessories and water hoses onto this, we want to make sure that the engine starts, so that after we get everything set up that we can rule that out if there's a problem with the machine. So you're just going to start this for a second. You can put the choke on, make sure that we're in on position, give it a quick pull. And you can see that starts right up, so we're good to go with setting up the water supply and the pressure accessories. Okay, so now that we've tested the machine, make sure it starts, the oil is good, and we have fuel in it, we're going to set it up on level ground. It's a good idea to put it on a tarp or a piece of plywood to protect the ground from any type of fuel or oil spills that may happen, and vibration, damage from vibration. Now, you're going to want to make sure that you've got a metal safety can to fuel your machine. Do not use a plastic one. This one does not have the funnel spout on it, so we're going to use a nice big funnel here, and this funnel has a screen filter in it, so we're going to use that to fill it up. And again, make sure with any type of flammable, when a gasoline machine is being used, that you keep it at least 25 feet away, and make sure that your fire extinguisher is nearby in case you need it. Next, we're going to check the water supply and the supply line to make sure that there's no debris in it. Remember, we showed you the filter on the machine. We don't want that getting clogged up with anything that'll keep water from getting to the machine. Now, we're filming at our Atlanta service office today, and we do not have a steady water supply here. So what we are doing is we are using a 275-pound portable water supply tank, and that is attached to a 10-foot hose. This one's clear, so it's easy to see there's no debris in it. But just to give you an idea what you're supposed to do, you're going to hook your supply hose up, you're going to turn your water on like this, and you're going to make sure that it comes out. That way we know there's no debris inside of it. Now we're going to turn the water supply back on, and we're going to take a look at the outlet side of the pump and make sure that the water comes out of it so that we know there's nothing clogged up inside of the pump. So you just turn that on, and then you're going to turn the machine on briefly to make sure that we can get a water stream out of it. Okay, well, it stalled on us that time, but it did show us what we need to know. The pump is working and the water supply is coming out of it. Next, we're going to connect our pressure hoses and accessories, and we're going to do the same thing. Just make sure that you don't have the pressure turned up when you're trying to test the spray wand, because you don't want to lose that O-ring. All right, now that we've tested our water supply to make sure that nothing's in the hose and turned the machine on briefly to make sure that it's building pressure, it's time to take a look at our pressure hoses and accessories and connect them. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to inspect your hose to make sure that there's no wires sticking through and that the casing is in good shape. And you should do this on a daily basis. Then we're going to take a look inside the quick connect. Now this is a quick connect. In order to use it, you pull it back like this and you'll slip the male end in there. But first, we're going to take a good look inside of here. And it might be difficult to see in this light, but there's a little O-ring in there. That O-ring's missing. It's going to ruin your whole day. So you want to make sure that that O-ring is intact before you get started. That brings us to another point. You always want to make sure you've got a nice supply of O-rings with you, and you should do this before you load up the machine to go on your job. What we've done here is we've just taken some spare O-rings and tied them around the frame with a piece of wire. That way you've always got it. You want to make sure you have these, because if you blow out an O-ring and you don't have a spare, you could lose a half a day or a whole day trying to chase one down. So for a 25-cent O-ring not being on your machine, you could lose a couple $100 of man hours and maybe a whole day of production. We don't want to do that. Now today we are going to be using a trigger wand and a pressure tip. Now this is a yellow pressure tip. They're graded from white, green, and yellow. This is a 5-degree tip. The green is a 20-degree tip, and the white one is a 40-degree tip. And they will make a shorter but more powerful stream the lower the number is. What you want to do with this, you want to take this off the machine, you want to hold it up to the light, and you want to be able to see that light coming through and make sure there's nothing in there. If there's something in there, what you can do is just take a bristle from a wire brush and clear that, or maybe just hit it on the ground a little bit from the bottom, and that should clear anything up. Next, we're going to connect our pressure hoses and our accessories using a quick connect. Now remember, you're just going to pull this back like that, slide that in, make sure this comes all the way back and you hear it click. That'll make sure you have a nice tight connection. Remember, this system is going to be under 3,750 psi of pressure, and you don't want these quick connects coming apart and having a hose flail around on you. It could cause a lot of damage, and at the very least it's going to ruin your morning. You don't want to get soaking wet. We're going to do the same thing with the accessory. We're going to pull it back, slide it in, make sure we have a nice tight connection. Now before you connect the pressure hose to the accessory hose, we're going to turn the water on, make sure the hose is clear. Then we're going to do the same thing with the pressure wand, and we're going to trigger that like this, and we're going to make sure we got some nice clean water coming out the other side. It's important that you do this without the pump on, because if you have the pump on, there's a tendency for the O-ring and the tip of the wand to blow out, and then you have to start all over and put a new O-ring in. So make sure you do this, make sure you got a nice clean supply of water coming through the machine, then install the tip, turn it back on, and you should be ready to go. Okay, now we want to just review real quickly your PPE. You're going to need your hard hat, you're going to need work boots, long pants, shirt with sleeves, you're going to need your safety glasses. If you want to wear gloves, it's perfectly acceptable. Optional PPE for this type of work, especially when it's windy and cold out, you want to have a rain suit and some rubber boots to go over your work boots, but that's up to you. Basically, if it's real hot, you might not want to use that. If it's chilly or windy, you're going to want to use it. So we've made sure that all our lines are clear. We've hooked up our accessory hose, our pressure hose. We've hooked up our accessory. Now all we have to do is start the machine and start cleaning. So we'll see you soon. Thank you. Okay, now that you've done, you're taking the machine apart, when you roll up your pressure hoses, make sure you have a nice tight roll here, and make sure you connect the male and female ends of the quick connect. That'll keep you from getting any debris or grit inside the lines when you put them back into your truck. Hi there. I hope this video was helpful and useful to you. We've developed these processes over the years because every once in a while you'll get a piece of debris stuck in your supply hose or in your pressure hose, or maybe something as a small little grain of sand blocking your pressure tip. Running through these processes will take you a few minutes longer to set up your machine, but in the long run it's worth it because it's going to save you a lot of aggravation and let you get to work right away, and that'll cut down on lost production. It'll also help us set up our site and our machine safely. Now that brings us to our missing safety item. Did you catch it? Well, we're going to have a few questions for you now. These slides are only going to appear for about 5 to 10 seconds, but you can always pause or go back to them. This is John Runge with Teamcraft Roofing Restoration's video training, and we'll see you soon.